The final episode of Loki goes so hard that there's so many things happening and it's so rapid, despite the fact that the majority of the episode is literally spent on exposition, that it's hard to pick up on almost everything. So let's talk about how Loki just set up the Multiverse of Madness, Deadpool's introduction in the MCU, and probably even more, which in due time will all be explained. So I specifically think it's this shot that tells you everything you need to know about what Loki just did, and why it's literally the most important piece of content in Marvel TV so far. And this show alone will have ramifications on everything that happens after it. And now we understand why they said Loki's not really part of the multiverse plan, because it's not, because Loki is bigger than just the multiverse. Loki's literally everything. It's more important in grandiose scale than any singular Marvel project currently announced, and that is rather huge. And nobody expected that the villain of the next Ant-Man film would get his backstory in this, and also set up the multiverse fracturing, what's being set up with the upcoming Spider-Man film, what happened in WandaVision, what happens with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and what Season 2 is going to have to deal with. And if we look at what they set up, we start to understand that anything can happen now. It's all fair game. And that one shot specifically, if you look at it again, and I want you to carefully look at the sacred timeline, which is the thickest one, and then look at all those branching timelines, I think you start to see exactly what is happening. Different points in time diverge, but notice how each little fragment of the divergent also diverges. So now even split timelines are splitting into their own timelines, which are splitting into their own timelines. Meaning that no longer is the TVA, no longer is Kang looking over one timeline and keeping it in check. Now everything is flowing whichever way it wants to flow. Meaning that there is no more keeping a timeline in order. So if Spider-Man decides, hey, I'm going to do this, well, another Spider-Man did the exact opposite. This now spawns another timeline. And out of those two Spider-Mans that did something else, each one will also make a decision right after that moment. One might swing to the left, one might swing to the right. So that creates another branch. So right now, what they've effectively done with Loki is explain to us that anything and everything that's ever happened, will happen, and can happen, and is happening, is all valid. Meaning that things with Deadpool, the old X-Men universe, the upcoming Spider-Man films, every single thing, every single timeline that Doctor Strange looked into in a possible future has all happened. And the simplification of that is they can do anything they want now and excuse any little plot problem or anything just by going, look at what Kang did. Blame Kang. So it's kind of like the comics now. We've actually gone full circle where if something doesn't make sense, you just go, oh, that Kang. Kang is fighting himself again. That's causing problems. And in a way, this is genius because it allows them to do even more hardcore comic book pulls, which at this point, after the last episode of Loki, I don't know how you get more hardcore, but they're gonna find a way.